Well, hello and welcome back, my Royal Rogues. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue, and tonight we have perhaps the most interesting portrait of Meghan's psyche and personality thanks to a long-lost interview of her former best friend, Ninaki Preety. Ninaki was Meghan's maid of honor in her marriage to Trevor Engelson, and their friendship spanned more than 30 years, so Ninaki's recollections and analysis of how fame changed Meghan are non-negligible. So let's go through this discovery into the mind of a narcissist so you can learn to spot these signals in others. Meghan and Ninaki met when they were just 2 years old at Hollywood's private Little Red Schoolhouse, and then they moved on together at 11 to the Immaculate Heart Girls High School in Los Angeles. There's no shortage of records of their friendship, such as this photo of Ninaki's 9th birthday party in 1990, to sharing an odd love for Panama hats as well. Although, when you think about it, it's Ninaki the one wearing a Panama hat. Meghan's looks more like a fedora. Maybe she copied that from her friend. And she was with Meghan on that European tour, here visiting a diamond house. And after Meghan left university, she and Ninaki drove back to LA via Colorado and stopped off at the Hotel Bellagio in Las Vegas. So they share enough experiences to really get to know each other. But the first clues that told Ninaki that this was going the wrong way was how Meghan pretended to act as if Trevor did not exist, as their relationship became sour and Meghan started dating Corey Vitiello after their divorce. And we can only assume that this was after their divorce, but it so happens that Ninaki spoke to Trevor at that time and he told her that he would have done anything for their marriage. And I think that's true. I have always sensed that Trevor is a good guy and that he was genuinely willing to put in the work for his relationship with Meghan to work. But you know that it takes two to tango. And according to Ninaki, I don't believe she gave him enough of an opportunity. I think there was an element of out of sight, out of mind for her. And what happened afterwards is defined by one simple word: fame. Her marriage to Trevor had been almost parallel to her role in Suits. She filming in Toronto while he continued living in LA. And he was a producer. And this is a common denominator that you should be able to spot when people are going through a winning streak. If you notice that someone who is moderately successful have a personality change of behavior, or there's something off, that's the first red flag. Because no, this is not a myth. Money, power, and glory, or fame, are intoxicating. And it's not like they are going to corrupt people. Instead, they're going to amplify what is already there. So, the best person in the room to tell that something was off was, of course, Ninaki. But the changes did not stop there. Imagine that you're meeting a friend of decades and you invite them for lunch. And they tell you that they are afraid to be recognized. It's baffling enough, considering that by this point, Meghan had barely 2 seasons being a secondary character on Suits. Maybe she really thought this was her big break and she was excited, but it went too fast to her head. And now, sometimes people can have changes in their lifestyle. Maybe managers or publicists or your contract forces you to have a tighter schedule. But one thing is having a different professional schedule, and one very different is to change your demeanor. And Ninaki felt this. Like she was looking at a before and after Meghan that had changed at some point. But perhaps the real signs of the upcoming fallout will be impossible to predict. In my opinion, this is one of the most interesting insights. Maybe she had started to change before then, but I was refusing to see it. The tone of her voice, her mannerisms, the way she laughed didn't seem real to me anymore. I felt if I questioned her behavior, I'd be left on the outside. Sometimes the truth is not always what you want. Is it? And I say that this is fascinating because in this situation, when we have known someone for so long and we are used to certain behavior, we are going to deny unfavorable or plain evil changes. But what you could sense is that their behavior is not authentic anymore. That is not them. But then a question arises. Which was the real Meghan? The one before or after Suits? And of course, this is a trick question. Because when someone changes thanks to fame, even after decades of friendship, maybe, just maybe they are changing just in your perception of them. In case of Ninaki, it was right after the Trevor divorce and Suits' rise. For example, if you see this from Jessica Mulroney's perspective, she wouldn't have noticed said change until much later. And this is a huge red flag when different people see a different Meghan. For some of them, she's changing. For others, she's always been the same. It's like Tyler Perry, who is still, I think, on Team Meghan. What I found odd is that for all the times that Tyler has defended Meghan, there's just one instance in which they have been seen together, and it's this clip of them staying at his mansion. No other photo or video. That's strange. But now, the fact that everyone sees a different Meghan, in this case, whether it's Ninaki Preety or Jessica Mulroney or Tyler Perry or even Harry, means only one thing. That the person in question, in this case, the Duchess of Sausages, treats every single person differently. And yes, we have gone through this a couple times, and she dumps people when they are no longer useful. But I want you to read deeper into this. That if you see vastly different recollections of people that know someone personally, some of them are no longer friends, some of them love her, some of them don't want anything to do with her, and some of them defend her at all costs, maybe said person treats every single one, yeah, you guessed it right, differently. If you ever stumble upon someone who treats everyone differently, say they are friendly with you but dismissive with a waiter, pay attention. I wouldn't say that having just a couple of friends is a red flag, because people who are legit could have just that, a couple close friends, and that's it. But when you begin to realize that they have burned way too many bridges for it to be a coincidence, it's time to be concerned about it. Especially if they happen to be the victim in all those cases. If they happen to be always the target of evil people. This can boil down to two scenarios. Either they feel like a real victim, like Harry, or you pretend to be one, just like Meghan. And if those two marry, well, that is the perfect victim duality storm. Now, don't get me wrong, but it's possible that being Markle is not a bad thing after all. But in our dictionary, there are two meanings to this term. The first one is that, well, you run out of luck after being next to Meghan's sphere of influence. Those examples require a video on their own. But the other meaning of being Markle is the one that is on the Urban Dictionary, the internet's most famous lexicon of slang, to describe abandon someone or something after they've contributed to your life in a meaningful way. So, Jessica Mulroney, David and Victoria Beckham, her long time friend Ninaki Preety, we can agree that they all were Markle in the latter form of the term, but I think it was for the best in all their cases. My Royal Rogues, I would love to know what you think about this in the comments. My name is Jesus Enrique Rosas. I'm the Royal Rogue. And remember, much love and bliss.